Okay, so in the last video we saw that doing this in practice, implementing or installing socket.io in a generated Express application isn't as trivial as it was in the theoretic part of my session. Um, so what we were able to do was to set up an actual connection. So as soon as the web page is loaded, the server detects there is a connection being made. I took the liberty to extend the HTML. I did this by extending the EGS view file. And what I did is I created a small HTML form with one input element for text. And I created an unordered list of elements in which we will put the messages. I gave them both IDs to make it a bit more easy. I introduced an initialize function which is executed as soon as a DOM content is loaded. And here I keep my input and my output elements. So I'm not sure if this is exactly the way you guys are used to writing JavaScript. This is my style, so if you have comments on this one, please let me know. So in the init function, I let my users know, or the developer know, the DIM content is loaded. I still make the connection, and I try to find the input and output elements. Next thing I do is to find the actual form, and I install an onSubmit event. As soon as the event is triggered, I prevent the default because I want to remain on this page, and I update the inner HTML of my output with a new list element. How do I do it? I get the input. And how do I get the input? Well, I take the input, I put the original value to nothing, so the text is actually removed, and I return my text. And this gives me something like this. Hello, enter. So the idea is that instead of just writing hello here, this message hello should be sent to the server. Well, I have a socket, so it's quite easy to do this. Up, I'm updating here that it's me who is sending this. And instead of just showing it on my HTML page, I'm going to emit this to the server. Client message. And what's the message? Well, I have to get it here. So I retrieve the input. I send the message to the server using socket.io, and I also put it in the HTML. So watch out, or let's take a look at this line. I'm telling the socket to emit my message, but I also have to invent some kind of event. And I call this the client message event. It's all fine to do this, but I have to do the same thing on the server as well. So I go to my index application where I have my socket code on the server side. So watch out, always take in mind or always decide whether you're writing front-end code or back-end code. So now we're writing on the server, now we're writing back-end code, and I want my socket to be able to detect client messages. So here I emit a client message. Here I want to react to it. Always make sure you don't have any typos because those are hard to find. What I have to do now is to write an event handler. What kind of event handler? Well, an event that triggers as soon as a client message is received. So I'm going to write received from a client, MSG. When I make updates to the front end, I don't need to restart my server. Of course, when I make updates to the server code, I have to reboot. Okay, so I'm going to my page, and now I can send some data. Message 123. It's added, right? And let's take a look at the server side. It's added here as well. Okay. Next thing I want to do is to do it the other way around. I want to send something from the server side to the client side. So as soon as a connection is received, I will let the client know that we received his connection. server message, connected, welcome. So now we're doing the inverse situation. Now it's the server who sends a message, and I pick a new name. This new type of event is called a server message. And now I have to make sure that my client is able to react to it. So what I'm going to do with this message, I'm going to add it as well to the output. So maybe I should make a function out of this. Get input function at output. Okay, perfect. So this means I don't have to write this one here. I just write at output me and the message. And now when we receive a message from the server, we don't have to write me, but server. Okay, so let's reboot the server. Let's take a look. So the first thing that happens is the server tells me we're connected. Thank you, server. And this happens here.